All right, making a video on the road. I'm out in Arizona. I actually just left Sholo, Arizona, and I'm on my way to Sedona now, which I am going to definitely update another video from Sedona. And so I wanted to make a video and talk about kind of where I see things going right now. This should be a good one, so not going to screen share, but just talk a little bit. So I've been watching the situation unfold here in this country, and it's definitely a cause for concern right now, what's going on, right? We've got a medical tyranny situation unfolding in real time, right? The way I see that playing out at this moment is I think that this medical tyranny, like for example with what's going on to the federal employees right now, I think that alone is enough to break the entire system. Just with the federal employees, right? We've also got this thing going on here in Arizona right now, which it really feels like FF weather to me. Not just here, but everywhere, right? Between these the building cyber, projection. They're projecting a cyber issue, and already there's been a lot of cyber issues. And then you got this, this situation with the AUDIT, and all, then you got the jabby jab, right? Those are some things going on. You got very questionable militaristic military age men streaming in over the border. So there's just a lot of craziness right now. You have the ongoing, continuous, regular, everyday, total political chaos, right? The wokeism, the extreme wokeist society going on here. So we've got a big stew of trouble brewing in many different ways, right? Now, I have not in a long time on this channel addressed the medical tyranny that directly. I've kind of danced around it a little bit, but I'm going to kind of lay it out the way that I see this going right now. And I think if you haven't heard this theory yet, I think it's going to be interesting and maybe actually a little relieving. So I do think that the way that the Depop is going is, yes, it is, if you get it and you get the hot dose, you get the real deal, right, with the G oxide in it and the mRNA and all you get the full payload. You're probably on the clock at that point, right? For you got like maybe 3-4 years or something, or maybe 2 years. Okay, but I think what they're doing now, this only thing that makes sense to me is, number one, the tests were completely useless and fake, and there must have been, in order to make some people get it, I think what they were doing is there's bacteria on there that mimicked the symptoms, right? So that was one way they did it. And then with the arm poke, I think probably the vast majority are placebos, and that's why you keep hearing these reports about blank, nothing written on the labels. And then you also are hearing that they've openly admitted, there's been newspaper articles like, hey, they accidentally sent out all these saline shots, right? So really what it's going to come down to is, I think that a lot of our close friends and relatives are probably okay right now that did succumb to the pressure. However, they're going to push the booster now, and you're going to see a lot of sheep line right back up, and then they're probably going to get the hot dose then. So these people that were ignorant enough to go along with this for whatever reason, probably a lot of them have another shot right now, right? So what are we going to do about that? Well, I've talked to a lot of people that did it the first time, and I'm like, are you going to go? And I said, are you going to take the booster? And they're like, oh, hell no, right? Let's hope that that's true. I would go back and talk to those people and just kind of say, look, you really shouldn't do it. And hopefully they'll be fed up enough to not have done it. because if they, if they were spared the first time, that may not happen the second time. So the booster is going to be, they're going to do the same thing they did last time. They see, one thing I do know about these people is they like to have everything under complete control at all times, even when it seems like it's chaotic. If they lose control of something, it's on purpose, even. And I don't think they want to lose control of this. So I do think that they're going to do it in a methodical fashion where maybe they're going to target certain groups and they're going to have certain lots that are hot doses, right? So if you have a friend or loved one that succumbed, they might have got a pass. So don't do, if you took it, don't do that booster, please, for God's sake, don't do that. Okay. So also, all right, changing topics. We could probably write a book about how wild and crazy this is, and how many incredibly ridiculous things have happened with it. But I'm just going to try to stick to the really important stuff. Stay the hell away from it, and sure as hell don't get boosted. Don't let your loved ones do it, man. Do whatever it takes. Save them. Okay. Moving along. You're hearing a lot of ruckus about shortages of essential items, right? It's very important, I think, right now to have a plan with that. Now, if you're tight on dough and it's, like you don't have another $500, $1,000, $1,500 to spend right now on dried goods and stuff, just do what you can with dried goods. Like, just build an inventory because they last a long time, oftentimes past their expiration date. Also what's really important, another thing is water filtration. It doesn't cost a lot of money. They make those light, buy a whole bunch of Life straws, or there's all different types of systems that don't require electricity to operate, and you can filter gallons of water at a time. Installing reverse osmosis, even if you lose power, is good because you get a lot of reservoirs there that you can still use. So basic necessities are, there's definitely a agenda with this whole chaotic plan to limit that stuff and to keep that inaccessible. So I highly recommend stocking up on the dried goods, there's like that Patriot Food Supply. There's a whole bunch of good places. You can even, Amazon sells big buckets of dried storable meals that'll last 25 years. Pop a few of those in your basement. Load your freezer up. Don't hoard, and don't buy stuff that you're not going to use. And then also, if you buy dried goods, you have to kind of rotate them in to your regular food supply and then replace them. So you got like a big inventory of dried goods, and then if you just let it sit for 5 years, it's not going to be too yummy. So would recommend definitely going down there and keeping it rotating a little bit. It's a little bit of work, but it definitely buys you a peace of mind to have stuff like that that's dried and lasts 3-4 years. A lot of that stuff will. One trip to Costco, $500-$600, and at least you got a running start, right? So I do expect there to be a lot of pushback on a lot of these horrific policies that just never seem to stop. I heard something about this infrastructure bill. They basically passed it without it being written yet. If I were to just take one day and really digest everything that goes on, I would be so outraged that I think I would just shut down. I know that's probably what it feels like to a lot of people. It's like, yeah, there's so much chaos and so much unsettling information that really nobody should be happy about, that it's just overwhelming how twisted this society is. But I keep having this thought about society in general. I go a lot of places. I've seen some things, and I have to turn on the TV or find a media source to discover this stuff. It's so artificial that almost none of it actually exists in the real world. And even with all their programming and nonsense, when you really get boiled down to it, I don't encounter this in the real world barely ever. It's so rare that I actually encounter like a whacked out, somebody that is really buying a lot of this stuff, full, hook, line, and sinker. It's like, I go places, I see people, like, I don't constantly think about, like, gender and race and and all those things that they constantly just pump down your throat nonstop now. When I'm out and about in the world, like I encounter all different types of people. 99% of my encounters are great. The 1% that's not, I'm not like fixated on what that person's ethnicity was. Like, it's just so tiring and just so disgusting that we have this really sick corporate media and just establishment that just makes that the core focus of every issue. It's a really sad and pathetic stance to take, and so I hope that wholesale people reject this. You want to talk about just the world, the modern history that I'm aware of the world is just absolutely loaded with injustice, and you could pick any group and find extreme injustices of any group that's ever existed, basically, at some point or another, and they would be so horrific, just as bad as anything we've dealt with here has happened all over the world numerous times throughout history. And I'm realizing now that some of the genocides and whitewashing of history are so intense that we don't even know some of these groups that existed anymore. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard about, I know a lot of people are, I guess, studying this Tartaria theory, and obviously we know about the Native Americans, and there's been so many groups that have been, wiped out over the last 10,000 years. I mean, look at what happened in South America. I mean, it's tremendous, right? And at the end of the day, it is sad. We have a very, very violent culture, but I don't want to make this into like a victimhood speech or anything like that. But let's just say that the same leadership that's steering the ship, which to me feels like a bus loaded with people being driven down a hill with no brakes, that to me, the same leadership that was in charge 1,000 years ago is in essence still run in charge, right? One way or another. The same mentality, this divide and conquer, winner take all, power over others, service to self types of mindset has existed for so long that it's like a regular accepted part of our culture, and we have to stand back and look at it and realize how, just look at the last 100 years, right? These tremendous wars that have taken place and destruction, and it's happened again and again and again throughout modern history. And but it's like, the thing about it is it's like it's not the people. It's not like the people fight in the wars and they go and they get corrupted and damaged and hurt and abused, but it's really been, I think, really what's ultimately led us down this bloody, violent, ruinous path has always been the 0.10%. It's always been the top of the pyramid doing it. It's not like all the citizens of Rome got together and decided to go conquer the continent, or the Ottoman Empire, or Alexander the Great, or any even the Spanish. Stopped too fast, but we're still rolling. It's gonna be one of my best production values yet, right? That's what you get here. So I'll just go on for a few more minutes. So what I'm trying to say is, like, the Spanish conquistadors, any group that's gone on and conquered, right? It wasn't the people had a vote, hey, let's go conquer half the world. It was the occult, elite, dark ruling class that made these type of decisions. And the country that the people lived in, even now, like in modern times, right? Did the people? I was sitting on a vacation in 2004 when Bush Jr. We went into Iraq, and I had no clue that was going to happen, right? Did I, as a citizen of this country, and then I found out that there was a whole plan to take over the Middle East and Libya and Syria. Do you think the average everyday citizen of this country had some role in that, or even knew it was going on until they saw it in the newspaper. We didn't do that. We have this. The head of the snake did that, and we're just citizens, and the more time that goes on, the more I feel like we have like in America, we have this little kind of holdout of freedom here that is really under attack. And unfortunately, like I give so much love and admiration to these places like France and Italy and Greece and even Germany. Like these people are in the streets fighting, and here in the United States, it's like we're not really. I don't see us, at least maybe I'm missing something, but I don't see us rising up yet and really, taking it to that level. For I think for a lot of reasons. I think not making excuses here, but I feel like we've been pushed pretty hard. Probably not as hard as some of these other countries yet. We're very decentralized, right? It's a big country. A lot of these European nations are a lot smaller, right? They've faced a lot more oppression than we have. Like we're here in America, we still have this, we still have a lot of freedom compared to other places. So we don't, even though the noose, you can feel it tightening, and you can feel the control system just really creeping in and really unusual ways that we're not used to. We don't have a long-standing culture of extreme oppression in our country like a lot of these other countries. Like I'm not saying that things are perfect here, but it's kind of new to us, right? I mean, now I look back and I realize that there has been a lot of crazy stuff that's gone on here, and the ruling class has done a lot of things to the people. Sure, but maybe not even as bad as some of these other places. So I think that the other thing is that we live under such a nanny surveillance state, right? That like look what's going on, here, in Michigan where I live, or with the January 6th. You have all these intelligence agencies that are involved in trapping people, basically, right? And so there's a lot of paranoia, and like all the groups, like when people organize here, the three-letter agencies infiltrate and steer those places into a cliff, and basically like entrap people and stuff. So there's a real they've really got a hold of that here. Like they do that probably here. I mean, I couldn't say more than anywhere else, but I think we've with all our massive apparatus here of overlapping three-letter agencies, they've really gotten good at infiltrating anything that could stifle their agenda, and using the full force of the most powerful nation to just totally enact war. Basically call everybody that opposes their radical, insane agenda as a terrorist, and then use the full power of the system. And so here it's very cruel and unjust. I mean, here in this country, unfortunately, there's a lot of tyranny. We've got three-letter agencies that are just like ruthlessly evil, and do go after their own people, and just put down any type of organized group is just fully compromised almost from day one. So we got a big problem. We got a lot of issues. I know this video I kind of just rambled a little bit, and I had a lot on my mind the last couple weeks. It's been a challenging time with all the things going on, but I'm coming out here. I'm going to go to Sedona now. I'm on my way right now. I'm going to try to get into a vortex tomorrow. I was going to try to do a UFO tour, but it's monsoon season, and it's not the best time to get a clear sky. Like I'm looking out right now, and it's pretty rough. It is getting dark, so I know my lighting's not that good. I know you guys just want to see this face, so I'm really sorry. But look, I guess I have to say I do think it's going to get more challenging before it gets better. Obviously with what's going on out here in Arizona, with the this situation that is also going on in other states, like now Michigan, and I think Georgia is right behind, and Wisconsin's there, and they're all gonna uncover it, and I expect it to be an ultra slow walk process with lots of lawyers and frustrating, kind of like everything has been the last few years, right? And not immediately gratification type stuff, but I do think there's brighter days ahead. I do think that we will win, but it being that it is a war, we could have large amount of casualties. Like it could be a 5, 10, 15, 20% loss of the population in some countries, or it could be greater with all the madness going on. So it is a war, and we're just gonna have to be strong. It's really time to get strong. It's time to. I'm telling my friends, it's time to get your house in order. Time to really batten down the hatches, because we might face an open war. I think we are in a war. I think we are in a spiritual world war. This is very unconventional warfare. It's it's everything but a shooting war right now, in my opinion. But it can easily turn into one, and it's a very blurred. The battle lines are extremely blurred due to this, this psychological warfare. So, it's pretty maddening when you actually look at it all and step back and take a look at the big picture. And there's a ton of disinformation. There's just everything you could imagine. It's very confusing, and it's the what do they call that? There's a term for it I can't think of, but nonetheless, we're going to be strong. We're going to stay in the fight, and we're going to come out on top, and we're going to have more peaceful, happy, cohesive, unifying type things. But I think we need a unifying event of some kind. I think we need something that gets everybody kind of on the same level of consciousness, right? Now, unfortunately, as I look back throughout time, most, if not all, the vast majority of the events that made people wake up or take notice have been extremely negative, like FFs or terrorist attacks or chaotic situations. It's not usually a unifying positive effect, right? It's usually something really bad that gets people to kind of come together. Like I lived through the most significant one in my lifetime was 9/11, right? That was when everybody kind of said, "Oh my God," and patriotism rose, and everybody felt like we were on the same page. But now we know, at the time, we all believed the story, right? We thought every word on TV was they were giving us everything, and then as the years went on, we've learned what that really was, and that woke a lot of people up. But that's kind of how it's worked up until now. And now, when these things happen, it's not like that anymore. Like the day it happens, if that were to happen today, I think I'd say 40% of the people on day one wouldn't even buy the story at all, right? Now back in that time, it was probably like 5%, if that, right? So we've come a long way, but we got a long way to go still. So I got a long way to go still, and I better focus on the road. So I'm going to come to you live. I'm going to try to go live in Sedona a little bit, and hopefully get a couple things going on with that. So we've got some good ideas planned there. So we'll hang out in Sedona. We'll see you guys soon. Love you all. Namaste, peace, and let's be strong.